So there's this old life teaching that basically it says that every bit of suffering that we experience in this world, every bit of suffering that we experience in our life is based on this desire for things to be a certain way, this desire for things to be different than the way they are, this desire for things to stay the way they are. Every bit of human suffering is born out of that desire. And I think that's a really interesting idea. Um, it's the thirst for things to be a very specific way, a very certain way. I've also heard that described as outcome dependency. Now, I'm going to ask you to continue watching because I'm really going somewhere that I feel is big. So we have this thirst for things to be a certain way, and then we have this feeling, this suffering that's associated whenever this thirst leads to things being different than our expectations, right? So we have a desire for things to be a certain way or for things to stay a certain way. And then our suffering rises out of that because now we have outcome dependency. And what I would encourage you to do, this is going to be really short, rather than focusing on making sure everything lines up perfectly, because you can't affect your impact all the time. All you can affect every single time is your intention. You can't always affect the outcome. You can't have expectation based on emotions, based on what you want things to look like, based on how you want things to go. You can't have expectations based on that. You need to have intention based on that, but not your expectations. You can influence your intention. You can influence your intention by what you read, by who you talk to, by who you hang out, by meditation, by how you journal, by how you approach life. You can affect your intention. And let's see here. So we can influence our intention, but do not depend on a specific outcome to find joy, contentment, and happiness. You can't hold expectations on the people around us, on what we're trying to have impact on. You can't have expectations, and if you do have expectations, you can't take them personally. So if I want something to go a certain way, I can't hold that personally. I can't hold that close to my chest and say, I need this, I want this, I want this, because that expectation, you're just setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for suffering. It's okay to have, I need a different word than expectations. An expectation should be cold, it should be mechanical, it should be impersonal. An expectation should be based on pattern. And you shouldn't need your expectation to be fulfilled in order to experience happiness. Your expectation should not even be anywhere remotely close to what your satisfaction or your joy is based on. Your expectation it should simply be based on patterns of what has been. It should be based on what is likely and based on what has been happening up to this point. That's what your expectation should be based on. But again, your expectations should come nowhere close to being where your joy arises from, where your happiness arises from. Expectations should be like a skeletal structure for how you choose to set your intention. It should be a skeletal structure for how you choose to plan your day, to plan your month, to plan your life based on patterns that you've seen in the past. Without regard emotionally and without personal needs attached to these expectations. Expectations should inform your intention. Expectations should not be the driving factor in your intentions. Your expectations, again, they should be mechanical. They should be impersonal. There should be no emotion attached to your expectation. Your intention is where the beauty and the love should come in. It should be based on love for yourself. Your intention should be based on love for yourself. Your intention should be based on love for other people. It should be just filled with I want good things for other people, and so I'm intending for this. Without holding on to that expectation, I'm intending for this, and I also expect this. You can't intend and expect the exact same things for the exact same reasons. There has to be some sort of a split there. Anyway, that's what I've been reading about today. What do you thirst for in this life? What are you wanting? Are you wanting your flow outward? Is that where your intention is? Like making sure that your outward flow is as beautiful and loving as it can be, or is your thirst for things outside of you to be a certain way? Because the more you're focused on things outside of you being a certain way as opposed to things inside of you being a certain way, you're building up a continual path of disappointment and growth in that thirst for things to be a certain way. Because the more you want things to be a certain way, and the more it's not that certain way, the more that you want things to be that certain way. And then we wonder why we're so depressed, or why everything around us is bumming us out, or why we're having such a terrible year, or such a terrible month, or such a terrible day. It's built on unmet expectations. Anyway, that's what I got. Thanks for watching.